All right, welcome back to HM and Biggie Review Things. Today we are doing an episode of What's Worth Watching, and we are going to talk about a show called Severance. I don't know a thing about this show. These two gentlemen here, Rob and Alvin, have watched it, so I'm going to ask them questions about whether this is worth watching. So it's sort of treat me as the audience. I've never seen it.
Tell me about it. In these What's Worth Watching segments, we're going to try to highlight maybe less popular shows and stuff that not everyone is watching and buzzing about, but that maybe are really good and worth watching. And you can we'll talk about it and you can check it out and see if it's worth watching.
So yeah, tell me about this show. I know it stars Adam Scott. That's the only thing I know from the poster.
Adam Scott. It stars Patricia Arquette.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't star, but Christopher Walken.
Whoa, okay.
And John Turturro.
Right.
Falcone.
And from the Transformers franchise.
Yes. So good names. And it's produced by Ben Stiller.
Right. I saw his name on the credits.
It's very difficult to kind of go into too much detail about this show because the nature of this show is it's a mystery.
Okay.
So the basic premise of the show is that there is a technology called Severance, where you can sever your memories, and when you're introduced to the technology, the severance process is this little operation, but it's spatially based. They go through this elevator, and it's not I don't know if it's magic or whatever. There's a little camera trick to show basically they're switching personalities. It's the same person, but while you're in the basement floor of this mysterious company that you're working for, you don't remember anything of your personal life outside of it's two separate consciousnesses.
Yeah. And ultimately what I got from that is when you want to separate your work life and your life. Yeah. This is pretty much what it does. They're really separate. What you do at work versus what you do in life.
Right. And so there's a lot of opportunities for Adam Scott. So they call them innies and outies. Okay. When you're severed and your severed self and you're just in innies and outies, and so it allows Adam Scott a lot of subtle differences for when he's in his innie and his outie form. The show comments on work-life balance is definitely one of those things. It comments on kind of a lot of societal things, asks a lot of good big questions, but at its heart, it's a mystery.
It's a mystery, but is it treading into science fiction?
Oh, I think there's definitely pretty heavily into science fiction. I mean, just the whole technology of it, of the severance, they put in a little chip in your brain,
right?
That kind of activates it. And there's a lot of the show that I compare it to. I watched it with my wife, and I sold it to her on that too. Is Lost?
Okay, yeah.
Is Lost. Lost was a very popular show when it first came out.
Extremely popular.
And it was very popular because of all the intriguing setups and questions.
It was one of the first shows that had that arc of the whole season and a lot of big mysteries. I think season 1 was brilliant. Season 2 was pretty good. And then some of the other seasons kind of got wonky, and then they tried to wrap it up. But it seems like Severance is going to get a season 2.
It has.
The comparison to Lost, I think, is good because this is like Lost season 1, where it's asking all those questions and you're really interested. I don't know if it will end as poorly as Lost, or maybe it can end better. Maybe it'll tell a tighter story.
Hope so.
I don't know, but at the end of season 1, I'm very hooked and engaged. I want to find out more.
Right.
One of the first things that you learn in the show, because this is kind of, I guess, pre-spoilers, is that he works at this mysterious company, and the company's really strange. It has a lot of blank hallways. He's working in this massive room, but there's only 4 cubicles, and he worked with his 4 office mates, and the stuff that they're doing is really, they don't even really understand it.
The introduction to it is very interesting because he's literally going through a maze and you're following him, and that sets up the mystery, where is he going? And then I think he works for the macro data refinery division.
Macro data refinement. Refinement. It's just words to be gibberish.
So, and the thing is, what they do is also a mystery. The work he does, you're kind of
They don't really physically know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They don't know what the company does. And so one of the first things that happens is like the inciting incident, I guess, is one of the 4 members doesn't show up, or he's gone, and he's now promoted to be the leader of the team, and there's now a new member.
This is Adam Scott's character, Mark S.
Now, would you say this is a dystopian type of future, or is that too much of a spoiler?
I mean, the timing, it's interesting. I don't actually know kind of when specifically it's set. It's not, I don't think it's super set out far in the future or anything like that. So I think it's supposed to be kind of now-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then so you spend a good amount of time with the innies, and you spend a good amount of time as well with Mark's Audi.
Yeah, Mark's Audi.
And then you start to learn more about the other characters. You start to learn a bit more about what the company, or find different, more weird things about the company. None of it is fully explained.
Yeah. How many episodes are there?
9.
There are
9 episodes at
40
let's say 50 minutes each.
50 minutes each. Okay, so it's a good.
I mean, you watched it over
3 days.
3 days. Like you can binge it if you're committing 2 hours a day. Then 2-3 hours.
I could probably do that in one day. Yes, I've done it before.
After completing his duties.
Yes, it is. Yeah, the mystery is good. It's asking a lot of questions that are gripping, and some of like the twists and the turns. Like you kind of can see it coming. Like I was like, oh, that's gonna happen, but it's still kind of, it does it in a way that it's like, oh, it's still kind of, it gets you, and it still kind of pulls you in. So I actually did say, I think during one time when they were doing something, I was like, oh, this is like them finding the hatch and opening the hatch.
Yeah, I was about to say that's obviously an iconic scene.
Yeah.
Right, and you peer down the hatch and then the season ends. Right.
Well, one of the things I also do like is, aside from like the plot, the themes, and the psychological thriller elements, is actually the acting performance. Right, like where they have to be 2 different people, both when they're in the innie form and the outie form, but then still have that subtle similarity.
Yes.
Like if we were talking
in person,
because when you're talking about Mark S, like one, you ultimately find out what his character's motivation is, to like become an innie, right? But then you still see the subtle, like, he's a generally kind and caring person, right? Sure. So I would say the performances of all the actors were done very well. I don't think there was any one weak actor. Like, could you think of,
No. It seems like this is a kind of show that I would like. You would like it, definitely sure. Like very it. But is there a type of person not going to like this show?
It's kind of like weird, like some of the mysteries that it reveals are weird. Like going back to Lost, it's like, oh, there's a polar bear.
Right.
Oh, there's a smoke monster that's never explained. I'm still kind of like, what?
There's a lot of stuff that was not explained about the show.
There's I would say this is that, but even more. Some of the stuff that's presented kind of as weird is really weird.
But it's not horror weird, right?
It's not. There's no point where it's horror weird.
Okay, all right.
So I think when you're talking about just overall themes of the show, I think it comments on work-life balance is probably like the most kind of tamest surface level, kind of very obviously, but it talks about stuff in terms of like right to life almost, right? And like because it's the Audi that makes the decision to work for this company and agrees to get severed. When they go through that elevator and they become that innie, the innie has no control of whether they come back. Yeah. All they know is at the end of the day, they go in the elevator, and when they're woken up again, they're in the elevator coming out again. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, I've never watched it, obviously, so I don't know, but I think I will check it out based on your recommendation. It'll be interesting to see the further seasons, because normally these type of shows, there's going to be rebellion. There's going to be people that find out how to tweak the system, manipulate it, and then there'll be an all-out war. I don't know, because it sounds just like that type of dystopian thing.
A comparison I also want to make too is to The Island.
Okay, Ewan McGregor.
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
Yes, Ewan McGregor. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. But in The Island, you had the clones, and same questions, right? Are the clones... Do they have a personality?
Yeah,
are they people?
Right,
So are they people?
Similar
that's why I'm asking about the dystopian type of...
and it is that. Yeah, the company is obviously at least somewhat evil.
Right. It's not a benign, great company. They're doing something probably not so ethical or whatever.
Right.
Interesting. Well, any other thoughts, gentlemen, We'll check it out.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like, if can we give a rating?
Sure. Yeah.
Sure. Let's give me a grade.
Yeah. I would give the show an A-.
Well, good.
Overall A-. It's
season 1 A-.
It definitely. I mean, there were some issues, like for example, certain plot points were just left wide open, which I generally don't like. But then overall, I'm invested, and the cliffhanger at the end was pretty awesome.
Was very good. Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
What about you, Elvin?
I think I'm going to go with that same grade. A- is really good. It is a very strong first season. I think due to the nature of its show, it's going to have a lot of these hanging plot threads that they can't address. But some of them are weird. I'm introducing in one season, it's a huge issue, and then we'll never talk about it again.
Yeah. There's a couple pretty big ones.
Let's give it that optimism, because Lost, we had that optimism. Unfortunately, a lot of the plot points did not resolve, and people were really angry about that. Hopefully, they've learned the lesson by watching shows like Lost and saying, we have an arc for each character.
So we're excited for season 2, and hopefully it doesn't drag. Hopefully it doesn't end up being 6 seasons.
Right.
Like, tell it in 3-4 seasons most. And conclude it nicely.
And again, you can watch this, I believe, on Apple Plus.
On Apple TV Plus. Yes.
TV.
Check it out. Check it out. Yeah. I think you definitely would enjoy it.
I will watch it. Yeah.
And if it sounds like the kind of the show that you like, we think it's worth watching.
All right. Well, that's our episode of What's Worth Watching. Thanks, guys. Severance, please do check it out. I will check it out. And for more, we'll see you in the next episode. But in the meanwhile, keep watching things. Let us know what you think about what we think, about what these guys think anyways. And see you later.
And like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks so much.